You know that feeling when you scroll through a sea of sleek soundbars, each promising cinema-level immersion and earth-shaking bass, only to end up with a thin-walled unit that sounds like it's trying to fill a bathtub with a garden hose? I've been there spending a weekend watching a movie and realizing the dialogue is drowned out, the low end feels like a polite tap, and the whole upgrade feels more like a disappointment. That's why I'm taking a deep dive into the Dragon 11.2.6 Dolby Atmos DTSX Pro surround sound system from the Nakamichi store, because it sits on the high-end end of the market and it's easy to waste a lot of money on a product that doesn't match the hype. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's get clear on what this thing actually is. It's not a conventional soundbar you mount under your TV. The chassis stretches a solid 58 inches across, and behind that slab are two 12-inch aerospace-grade aluminum subwoofers equipped with carbon passive radiators. In plain English, the subs are designed to move a serious amount of air, which translates to that deep, floor-shaking rumble you hear in action movies or concert tracks. The brand markets it as an exclusive ProCinema surround engine with an AHD Ultra engine and HiFi Air motion tweeters that together promise a reference-defining soundstage. The price point $3,799, even after a $1,400 promotional discount, makes it clear this is aimed at the audiophile or home theater enthusiast who wants a system that can compete with a dedicated 5.1 or 7.1 setup. So, who should actually consider spending that kind of cash on this system? If you regularly host movie nights, have a dedicated home theater room that's at least medium-sized, think 12-foot diagonal or larger, and you already have a 4K HDR TV that can deliver the visual side of the experience, the Dragon can be a game-changer. The dual 12-inch subs give you the kind of low-frequency impact that makes explosions feel like they're happening in the room with you, and the Atmos DTSX processing creates vertical cues that bounce off the ceiling and floor, pulling you into the scene. It also works well for music lovers who listen to bass-heavy genres, electronic, hip-hop, or live-recorded orchestral pieces, because the carbon passive radiators keep the low end tight without turning it into a sloppy mess. On the flip side, if you live in an apartment, have a small living room, or are the kind of viewer who just watches Netflix on a couch and isn't planning to upgrade your TV anytime soon, this system is probably overkill. The sheer size of the chassis means it will dominate any modest wall space, and the powerful sub-output can cause neighbor complaints in multi-unit buildings. Moreover, the remote has been reported to feel a bit clunky. You'll find yourself scrolling through menus more often than you'd like, especially when toggling between Dolby Atmos movies, game consoles, and streaming apps. If you're looking for a discreet, plug-and-play bar that you can hide behind your TV, you'll be disappointed. Now let's talk about the practical strengths that actually matter when you press play. I tested the Dragon with a 4K Blu-ray of Mad Max, Fury Road. The first thing I noticed was how clean the dialogue stayed, even when the engines roared and the desert winds howled. That's the result of the HiFi Air motion tweeters, which are positioned to project crisp highs without the harshness you sometimes hear in cheaper units. The Atmos tracks, particularly the helicopter rotors circling overhead, were rendered with a sense of height that made me feel like I was looking up at the sky, not just listening to a stereo mix. When I switched to a music playlist on Spotify, the bass from the dual subs felt tight. The carbon passive radiators kept the low frequencies from spilling into the mids, which is a problem on many subwoofer HiFi systems that end up sounding boomy. The connectivity options are solid for a high-end system. You get HDMI EARC, optical, and a few analog inputs, plus Bluetooth for quick streaming from your phone. The HDMI EARC is a must-have for passing the full Atmos bitstream from a compatible TV or AV receiver, and I didn't run into